Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here. Hello Robin, I hear you all say. You'll never guess what time it is. Oh, well maybe you will. Yeah, you're right. It's Brick Call o'clock with a package from bricklink.com. Right, well as usual there's a main driving force for this particular order and it is the Monorail extension of Brick Nottingham. Only a short extension, just 2 straight pieces required. But they're probably the rarest monorail pieces out there and therefore the most expensive, and that's purely just because they're in the most demand and you actually got more corners than straight pieces in most of those monorail sets. So I need 2 straight pieces to take us from the junction of the monorail track all the way to the edge of that second standing hole, where I do plan to have it bouncing back off there as well. Let's see if this has got any paperwork in it. No, it looks pretty clear actually. And here is our wonderful order, because as usual, that must have been stuck to the lid. I've filled my boots with absolutely everything else from that store. So I'm just going to give it a very noisy and unceremonious tipping out. And we can first of all start with those wonderful monorail pieces. Now, I know you can buy these 3D printed nowadays, which means that you can get them for, well, not much cheaper actually. These were £22, and to be honest, I think the 3D printed ones are about the same. So given that very small differential, if there even is one, I'd rather get the original ones just so there's a perfect match, and well, it kind of makes me feel better about it, to be honest. So these were labelled as used, obviously, because of their age, but not obviously discoloured, and I think I'd agree with that. I think, as with the rest of this order, they are used pieces and will do with a bit of a wash. And you can see that one's probably a bit darker than the other one. And if it does look a bit odd next to each other, I can always put the darker one in a less visible part of the city and sort of use the one that was there where we are talking about. So that's great to have because it's so hard not only to find some of these, but to be able to buy them separately, because a lot of the people selling them on eBay will be selling them as part of a bigger set that's quite valuable, several £100s, but then it'll have all the other pieces that I really don't need in it as well. And I don't want to extend my monorail right the way around that standing hole into the fairground, partially because I think I'll have enough going on in the fairground anyway without having more monorail. And I think the other reason is because you can have too much of a good thing, to be honest. It's like the trains. I'm going to have them just confined to one half of the room. If you have them going all over, yeah, it's kind of fun in one regard, but then you lose that diversity of the city, of course. So absolutely fabulous to have those. Can't wait to get them in position. Rest of the order in no particular order. So here are loads and loads of big red bricks, including a couple of Technic ones. And now this was actually because I went through a bit of a flurry of ordering after doing my train shed video, because I really anticipated that a lot of you would suggest that I walled that in. And although I'm going to make a second version of that train shed and change it quite a lot actually, I'm actually now not going to need some of these red bricks I bought in anticipation of those changes. So I'll have to find another use for these, but I'm sure big old bricks like this will be easily used. So I haven't got too much of a problem with that. I never end up with parts going unused for too long. Oh, wow. Now, I've done it again. Yep, these are Duplo pieces. I just can't help myself. I just see something really interesting like this, and I go for it. And I haven't even used the last Duplo piece that we got yet, that huge, great big red girder. But these should be a bit easier, and they're a bit smaller and look very industrial, so that's why I got them, for the same reason. And obviously you can put normal Lego bricks on top of these large studs, but they have to be sort of 2x2 bricks or 2x4 and so on to go on. But I just thought them as support for something industrial, either in my cargo yard, which is yet to be done, or maybe in my harbour area, or maybe even they're the things being transported themselves. I mean, you do see huge girder pieces being transported on the backs of trucks and on trains and on ships, where something like this has been built and is needed somewhere else. So maybe that's what I'll use them for. But they're a great shape. There was 2 of them available. and I thought I just had to get them. So they've been on absolutely loads of Duplo sets, and have had a really long life in that they've been in sets all the way from 1983 to 2002, including set 2700 train set. And given that these are a lot smaller than that great big red girder, I think they should be a lot easier to use. So yeah, I really like those. Very good. Right, other really big pieces. I've got loads more rock pieces. Now there's a burp. No, hold on. That is a burp, a big ugly rock piece in brown. And these two are lerps, which I think are large ugly rock pieces. The corner one is actually called a merp, which is a medium ugly rock piece, which doesn't make any sense at all because it's bigger than both of these two in my opinion. But anyway, I got those to help with any either underwater scenes or underground scenes that I might be doing as part of my underground setting, which will be kind of to the on the opposite side from the farm, fairground, sort of mine type area, and I'm hoping to do a double height table there, you may remember. And they also had one white one, so I thought that'd be useful for when and if I think when, but not for a long while, I do my Arctic scene as well. That could be either an iceberg or just a bit of a sort of rocky face covered in ice, or just a solid lump of ice if it's Arctic, I suppose. Here's another industrial yellow looking piece. Now this is the sort of piece similar to the ones I used in Fast Food Corner to support those large window pieces on the fast food bit, but a bit different because it's got this kind of lattice on the side. But I really like the look of that. It does look very industrial. I've had these before in white, which I'm saving for something or other, but I've never seen them in yellow before, and that's because they were unique to one set, although there were 6 of these in that set. 4610 Aqua Rescue Superstation, which is a Jack Stone set, and golly, they don't look good. I don't think these Jack Stone sets, I think we're going to see quite a few of those pieces coming up in this haul actually, but that's a nice piece nonetheless. A bit hard to use with this sort of weird pin on the top and so on, but I just like its shape. So there we go, put that there. And how about this? So this is the sort of piece that would fit in between these. It didn't come as part of that set, but that's got those sort of grooves that would slide in. And this is actually the same size as those window pieces in the Fast Food Corner, but is prison bars in old dark grey. And I've actually got 1, 2, 3 of these. They were very cheap because they were part of a couple of Jack Stone sets that aren't very useful nowadays. 4608 Bank Breakout being one of them from 2001. And it's interesting that it says bank breakout. I mean, you'd either break out of prison or break into a bank, wouldn't you? Anyway, that is another awful looking Jack Stone set. But I figured if I was ever going to do a prison, because I wasn't coming to this store to get these, but while I'm there, if I was going to do a prison, that's a load of prison bars, or maybe I'd have them that way, I suppose, to make a really big prison. Or maybe an enclosure with this on 3 sides. I don't really know. I also thought about using them kind of this way as kind of flooring, so you'd look down through the grill to something below. So that might work as well. But anyway, they're a really interesting piece, and I figure having 3 of them will probably make them a lot more useful as a feature in my city rather than just having 1. And again, they weren't very expensive for the size they were. And once I was already getting a big box, so big postage, that's why I've kind of bought all these rather large pieces at the same time. And if I open this bag, there's one more. This is another one of those, well, you would think it was an ugly rock piece, but it's actually called a rock panel piece. And this has got the lovely trans orange as part of it, with this stone sort of colouring on top to suggest kind of, I don't know, a volcano maybe theme or something like that. And that's been on a few sets, including Skeleton Tower 7093, which is a fantasy set from 2007. It's also been in Star Wars sets, Indiana Jones sets, Agent sets. But that is a really cool set with one of my knights actually from Brick Nottingham with the with the crown on the shield and so on. I think I've even got that barding, haven't I? Rescuing the damsel in distress held by that evil wizard. With a very cool dragon as well, actually. I might need a small dragon in my city. I'm not sure where it would go, so maybe ideas for if I could use a dragon in my city. And if I do use one, the one in that set's a pretty good example, if you ask me. So anyway, that's an interesting piece that maybe, used amongst other ones might suggest some sort of lava pouring out of some sort of fissure in the rock. Oh, tell a lie, there were two more. Same but brown, and same but brown again. So I've got quite a few brown ones now. But yeah, like those. Now check that out for an interesting piece. Wow. So this is a huge propeller. I think that's about 8 studs in diameter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. And it's in dark pink. And it kind of looks a bit like it comes from a Trolls set, really, doesn't it? But it's actually from our old friend Belleville, 4 sets from 2003, including 5861, Fairy Island. Looks hideous again, that set, so it looks like I'm getting lots of pieces from horrible old sets. And one really interesting thing in that set is the snail in the middle. Do you see that? Pink snail? That is a genuine Lego piece, would you believe? And is available separately. It wasn't available from this vendor, but there's also another one in a lighter pink as well. So that's really interesting, isn't it? Wow. So this piece I thought I'd use under the sea, probably as some sort of part of some ornate coral piece, maybe with something sort of coming out the top of it with sort of tentacles or something, I don't know. But it's a really interesting colour. You could almost use this as one of those sort of farm windmills that we discussed when we were doing the farm, that are usually used to sort of pump water up from a well, if it wasn't dark pink, if you could get a more sort of normal colour. But yeah, really interesting shaped piece. I think you'll agree. I mean, it almost looks like a ship's propeller as well, a really, really big ship. Again, not in dark pink. Then I got this wing piece in grey. I think I'm just going to use that under the sea or something, or in some rock face maybe underground. Just liked it just for its large shape, not being square obviously or rectangular. So got that. That's that bag. Load of these slopes. Now I think I got these as part of project expansion for the train shed, but these are going to be really usable in all of my rock faces to come, on the cliffs near my Coast Guard station, as well as under the sea, and as well as the underground bits. So that's absolutely no problem at all. Here's some more consumable parts that I think I just ran out of. Always running out of these. Used them in my pavements as well as in all sorts of other builds. And I've got a couple of these beveled gears because I've been using quite a few of those in both my train builds and my fairground builds, of course. Other things. Now, I got one more of these wonderful pieces that were used as the tanks on my twin tank transporter conversion from the set 4537. And one of mine was just a little bit stained. So, as the perfectionist I am, I thought I'd get another one because this one was quite cheap. A bit grubby, but I think that'll clean up, and it is a nicer white. So, that is a slight improvement. So, I'll have a slightly yellowed one spare. Now this is interesting. I've got another one of those really old school lights, and I'm going to be doing a very interesting build that will include these. I've already got one of these, but I decided I needed another one for what I wanted to do. So that will be coming up probably in the next month actually. So look out for that. But yeah, it's going to mix some of this old school sort of wiring and lighting with some of the power function stuff that I usually use. So that's really interesting. I'm really looking forward to that one. Got some more of these, which were going to be for that train shed again. I'm sure I'll find another use for that. Not too much of a waste. I'd run out of 1x4 tiles in white. There's some pattern ones here. This one kind of looks like a postcard, but it was actually in a video recorder in the set 5975 T-Rex Transport, along with a load of other Dino Island sets from 2000. So that's really nice. And I believe these two, will be, there we are, decorated as well. So these are two kind of mug shots of two baddies from way, way, way back. One with the typical stripy shirt and one with a cowboy hat, and they've got their kind of handprint, which doesn't really look like a Lego hand, and surely you'd have fingerprints, but there's also sort of details under that. And that was part of a few police station sets, including 6598 Metro PD station from 1996, so way back. And that actually had the original tunnel escape that's used kind of in the latest modular police station, with the baddie kind of tunneling out from underneath the edge of the prison cell. So that's a repeated theme. I mean, you do see that so much in Lego. Old set ideas just being reused again and again. But, you know, there's no problem with reusing an idea if it's a good one. So they're nice to have. I could put those in my police station now, or maybe give them to my super secret police. Yep, they're even infiltrating this video. And then I've got this wonderful thing that I've had before. It's a decorated panel, which I've had before, but it's from the Agent Set 8635 Mobile Command Center, which is a sort of goodie truck base, of which I think the coolest part of that set is that actual baddie aircraft in orange. I think that looks really cool, but the chance of me getting that on its own are probably very small, so I might have to piece that together one day. I just really like it. It looks really swishable, doesn't it? And there's not only this panel in that set, there's also one with Dr. Inferno's face on it, but I don't have that one. And the one of these that I do have is used in that warehouse base, and it's sort of buried within it, so you can't really see it. So I thought I could use this somewhere else. And it's got one of his sharks. In fact, both of them, because one of them's got kind of rockets on, and one's got a sort of laser beam type gun on it. And if I try and read it, which is very hard, it does actually say top secret document, security class Delta. Information is, golly, that is so small. Anyway, you can look up what that says or read it for yourself. It's actually easy to read on this phone screen, actually. Only on a need-to-know basis. Data shark, evil shark with missile mount. There you go. Speed, depth, stealth. Oh, it's got maximum stealth. That's good. Right, so that's that. So that's a really nice piece to have. Here's some really interesting pieces. So, well, not these. These are just some grill bricks that I'd run out of, so I'll throw them on. A crate in orange. I'm not sure if I had them in orange before. Maybe I have. I can't remember it, but I thought I'd get one. So that's quite nice. That's also in some Jack Stone sets only, in 3 airport sets from 2002, including 4618, Twin Rotor Cargo, which is another horrid set, but a nice, very dirty crate. Golly, that'll need a good old clean. Yep, good out. A very unusual colour here. I always love getting really odd colours. This is actually medium lime colour, so it's actually a bit different from normal lime green. And this is from the set 5861 Fairy Island, which is the one that we actually looked at earlier with the, what was it, the propeller in, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right. So that's a nice piece, just having a slightly different colour, probably for Under the Sea. I'll put that there as well. Another very interesting Beveled piece is this plant planter. So you'd have a plant sort of growing out of it, so maybe a bit like that, maybe with a flower on top as well. And it's kind of a different scale to minifigures, so it's really, really big compared with a minifigure. Well, not too big, I suppose, but yeah, pretty chunky. And that's actually in the colour violet, which is slightly different from all of the new sort of Friends sort of purples. But that's in lots of different Belleville sets between 1999 and 2004, including 3149, Hideous Home. Oh, I mean, sorry, no, Happy Home it's called, not Hideous Home. How rude of me. So there we are. So that's nice. I'll use that for its intended purpose. I'm not sure how that's going to connect to a plate. I think I'll have to use a jumper plate to connect that to the floor. And then I've got some heads. So I'll make a totem out of those, and then we can look at them. And I got these really for their expressions, just to make some of the scenes that I do around my city a bit more interesting. So if we start at the top, this sort of smiling head with kind of a headset on is a character called Charge from Alpha Team. It was in a couple of sets, including 4743, Ice Blade from 2004, which sort of a, I don't know, sort of racing ice ship craft sort of thing. Then we've got this very somber face with these black glasses. I thought it could almost represent a blind man, which I kind of want to use with one of those new Labrador dogs and the sort of harness that would go with it. I've already got a blind man in my city with a white cane and no dog, so why not have two? But this was originally kind of a undercover spy type guy in a few World City sets from 2003 and 4, including 7032, Police 4-Wheel Drive, and Undercover Van. And he's sort of channeling quite a bit of Super Secret Police as well. And I think there's a tiny nick there, but it's barely noticeable. And he looks pretty good if you ask me. That's just a bit of grub, so there we are. And then we've got this very grimaced face. I think I prefer the other side. Oh no, I'm not sure if that's actually the one I bought, but nonetheless, this is a kind of Exoforce character. If it is the right one, then it's from 7706, Mobile Defense Tank from 2006. And I was kind of thinking you're giving it to some sort of ninja type guy who might have a mask like that on, but it looks less good in person than I thought it did when I bought it, to be honest. And then last but not least, just single-sided, is this one at the bottom, who's been used in lots of Castle and Viking sets around 2005-6, including 7020, Heavy Artillery Wagon, which looks like an awesome Viking set. If you ask me, that looks really good fun. I think all those Viking ones were really cool. I mean, that's just the sort of line I think LEGO should bring back, to be honest. Really good fun. Yeah, but obviously he's very angry or screaming or, I don't know, could be all sorts of things, couldn't it? So that is a great piece to have. Fantastic. So that's that. Then, really, 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 really cheap. 300 of these. No, they aren't for Technic builds. These are actually for all of my cornfields. I'm not going to tip them out for once just because there are 300 of them and they're all going to roll. But yeah, I just thought that on the bar pieces that I'm going to have for my wheat field, they're going to sit on top of the bar piece, and then this bit will kind of be the ear of wheat on the top. And hopefully this sort of serrated edge will make it look a bit sort of random when it's a whole field of it. And I can have them all slightly different heights pushed onto those bars, slightly more or less than each other to make it a bit more sort of, a bit less uniform, let's say. But I think they should give a really good effect. So when my bricks and pieces order comes through from LEGO themselves, I'll be able to do that. And then I can really get going on my fairground, because I know I'm not going to be able to reach very easily after I've started that too much. Yeah, but I got these at less than a penny each for 300, so I think that was quite a good deal. Well, you're not going to get them any cheaper anyway, so that was great. And then very last thing is this. What is that? Well, this is Transred, and it's actually the rocket engine nozzles, if you think about it. 3 of them, from a couple of rocket sets from the Space Line in the late 90s, including set 6456, Mission Control. And this particular piece actually clipped onto the bottom of a great big sort of box that took batteries and so on, and produced loads of light and sound functionality to that set and the other one in that line. And basically lights would sort of flicker through these clear nozzles, and sounds kind of like a rocket launching, all sort of, engine noises would also come up as well. And both of those sets would go into space, obviously, and sort of split into different pieces and launch satellites and what have you. But I thought I would use this, yep, you guessed it, as undersea stuff. Now, I'm not sure how this is actually going to connect with anything else. I don't think they're stud sized. That side will connect, clearly, with studs. But I was planning on having it kind of this way up, because I think that looks more organic, like it'd be a little clump of, well, red things maybe with tentacles again, I don't really know, but it's well worth playing with, and I think it'll look really good. And then these sort of bits in the middle that are a bit more structural, I can kind of hide with some sort of seaweed pieces or what have you. So yeah, that might be really good. But if I can't find a way to attach this side to anything, because I think it clipped onto some special clips on the white battery box bit, then I'll have to use it this way. But then the question is how I'll connect any sort of additional tentacly bits onto the top of it. So I'm going to have to play around with that. You can't really tell until you've bought something like this whether it's going to really work, but I think it's well worth a go because sort of at an angle like that, I think it looks really interesting. So that is the haul, but a really interesting one, I think. Out of all the people that had 2 of these straights, there were only 2 vendors in the entire UK. And when I saw all of the wonderfully unique pieces that come from a load of odd Belleville sets and the Jack Stone sets, I really couldn't help but go with this vendor. And I'm really glad I did because a lot of these pieces are absolutely fantastic. And he even had an extra light, which I desperately needed for that upcoming build as well. So really, really happy with this order. And I can't wait to put especially these into Brick Nottingham. So that was haul number 82, would you believe, on the channel. And I think they're going from strength to strength, these hauls. I mean, I don't think any haul video I've ever watched on YouTube has had this kind of diversity of piece. So that's really good. And look at all the wonderful colours. I think all the scenes that these pieces are going to go into are going to be really improved as a result. So as always, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos. And if you value this channel, there are many ways in which you can support it. Do check out the links in the description below. Next time on Robin Hood Bricks, we'll be going up to the fairground and doing another build for that, probably. Or maybe do the farm final field if the remaining parts come. We have got half of the equation here, but there are quite a few pieces still required for that. So I think it's more likely we'll do a ride. Then another fun build on Monday. And another haul next Wednesday. So, for all of that, see you!